Wall Street Journal article that has been mentioned in this briefing, the main thrust of it is that the president was unaware that this kind of surveillance was going on of foreign leaders. In the interview that the president gave with, speaking of conflating, I'm going to be grouping a couple of things here, but in the interview with Sanjay Gupta with CNN, the president, or excuse me, Kathleen Sebelius, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, said the president was not aware of the problems with the website before it launched on October 1st. I mean, even back when the IRS was at issue back in May 13th, the targeting of political groups, the president at that time said he learned through news reports. Is there a concern in the White House, Jay, is there a concern in the administration that the president is being kept in the dark on some of these issues?
Well,
it's like a scene from a movie, maybe from the X-Files. After the oath of office, the president is plunged into the world of classified information about our country's national security. Today, reports ping-pong through the media over whether President Obama knew the NSA had been eavesdropping on other world leaders, including Germany's Angela Merkel, or not. CNN now learns from a U.S. official that the president was provided with very detailed documents about the framework for these programs, as every president is, even though the White House has said that he didn't know. Let's bring in the panel. CNN political commentator and Democratic strategist Donna Brazile, associate editor for The Hill, A.B. Stoddard, and CNN political commentator and Republican strategist Kevin Madden. Donna, it's a weird kind of excuse. The president didn't know about this. He can't be held accountable because he didn't know. He ultimately is responsible. Is that a good excuse?
Well, I'm glad that he knew about the framework of these programs, especially because many Americans are concerned that these programs might be going too far. Now, on one hand, it's very useful to have this intelligence, I'm sure. On the other hand, we're concerned about our privacy. So I'm glad the NSA is not on autopilot, that somebody is watching the watchers, and that at least on the House side, Representative Sensenbrenner is going to have introduce a bill called the Freedom Act. I'm interested in that. He's a Republican. Yeah. The House Intelligence Committee is going to have oversight hearings, but I'm glad the president knew about the framework. But that doesn't really answer the question. Why are we spying on our friends? I want to know why.
Well, you heard Dick Cheney say you never know what kind of information you're going to need until you need it. Is there becoming a meme here about President Obama not knowing what's going on in his administration?
This happened before. President Obama was protected by somebody, and so he didn't know, so he gets to sort of exonerate himself and say, I really didn't know. But you're right. If he's not responsible, who is? He has to be accountable for major decisions and major moments like this. When someone like Merkel calls him, he has to be able to be accountable to her and to say, these aren't decisions made by other people. 5 years into my administration, I should have known about this. It's not a good enough answer.
Kevin, you've worked for a lot of powerful people. I'm not going to ask you to name names, but the ones to whom this happens, this type of thing happens where something's going wrong and he honestly did not know about it, or he knew about it but somebody takes the fall for it. What's the dynamic going on behind the scenes? I mean, are people afraid to give politicians like that bad news?
Well, I think oftentimes what happens is that they try to silo off different departments or different elements within an inner circle away from the presidency and essentially treat information as a commodity. Some information more valuable than other information. And I think that's the problem. But for the public that's watching here right now, I think this goes to AB's point, which is that there's really no good answer. If he knew, then essentially we're being misled by different people in the administration about the extent of the president's knowledge. If he didn't know, it's an abdication of even the most basic responsibilities of command and control over very important parts of his administration, and that becomes a problem.
You know, we're in the age of Twitter. So I think when we get these questions, we ask somebody in the White House, what did the president know? When did he know it? And they're like, well, he doesn't know, and then later you find out, well, he probably knew. I just think that we just need to hold on and wait until the administration gives us a full explanation, because we deserve an explanation.
To that point, and I think this is where, again, the public ire is raised, which is that there's such a lack of accountability here. If we were spying on our allies, the NSA was spying on our allies, and the president did know, or didn't know, and he should have, well, then somebody has to be held accountable for that. And I think that's one of the problems right now, is that through all the public posture coming from this White House, whether it's through spokespeople or the president himself, there does seem to be this lack of accountability or taking responsibility. And Harry Truman once said, the buck stops here. Well, with this president, he keeps saying the buck stops elsewhere, and that's a problem.
No, that's not true. I don't think the president is saying the buck stops somewhere else. But I do believe it's important to understand this program has been in place now for over a decade.
Right.
We know that we've been spying on these folks for over a decade. If the president knew and decided that this program was no longer useful, then we need to know that as well. All I'm saying is that we need more information.
AB, let me give you the last word. I guess one of the questions I have is there a meme now with the issues with the healthcare.gov website and President Obama obviously not knowing about that before the launch of people on the Hill, Democrats too, starting to wonder about what's going on?
He has often said that he didn't know what was going on with the website. He even said now in a meeting last week with his top former, Axelrod, Gibbs, Plouffe, everyone, if we fix the website, everything will be fine. That is a dismissive answer. It's not an engaged answer. It's not accountable. He can't pretend he doesn't know and then walk away from problems anymore because he's been caught too many times out of the loop. And it just is, he can't do his job that way.
Maybe you widen your circle and you'll always be in the loop,
All
right?
Right.
AB Stoddard, Donna Brazile.